嗨，大家好，我名字叫阿 Ken，欢迎你们今天来到我的后花园看我的玫瑰。你看天气今天很大风了，还有那个天黑黑准备下雨。下个礼拜呢也是天天下雨，所以基本上那个机会呢越来越少。今天的玫瑰开的是特别漂亮，谢谢大家。Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Ken. This is my garden, and that early introduction was done in Mandarin. I was trying to polish up my Mandarin, hoping I would induce some Chinese subscribers. To tell you, I don't think they understand what I'm saying. My Mandarin is on a little rusty side. It is my third language. So there is my garden, looking lovely, very colourful. Some of the roses you see in the middle of the border, most of them are around about 5 years old. I planted my first rose back in pandemic time when pandemic hit around the world. We were locked inside our houses and in the garden, and yeah, that was my first ever rose. And now I think I have around about 160 to 80. I don't know, out of guess. I haven't really kind of counted. I have tried, but kind of lost count after a while. So all this preparation I've done during winter and spring, you know, all the going back and forth in the garden centre, buying up soil, and going to my local farm, pick up the manure, stinking my car up for days. Well, is it worth it? I don't know. Yes, definitely. So today is the day, ladies and gentlemen. I will give you a tour around in my garden. Some of the roses aren't in flower, especially the early, recently planted ones. But I'll show you that on my part 2 of my video. As you can see, the wind is very, very blustery day today, but at least it's not raining. So let's not waste time and get started. I'll just show you my front garden very quickly, as my neighbor at the back is chopping up the sycamore tree logs which I left for them. They're going to use it for log burning. And this one is Julia Child, not quite in flower just yet. And this next one is Leonardo da Vinci, bred by Milan. You know, after all these years, I thought I've said that right, but in fact it is wrong. A viewer corrected me last week, and he says it's not Milan, it's Mayon, and I've always thought my sister was just pronouncing it wrong. I mean, she keeps saying Mayon. How's that possible? It's got a L-A-N-D at the back of that word. But I didn't want to correct her, as she'd studied a bit of French and I've always studied German. So I just want to thank that viewer for correcting me. So this is a Mayon rose. So, you know, I'm quite good at French now. And that is my small front garden. Small but packs a punch. And these self-seeded Nigella, honestly, they self-seed so easily, literally on nothing, on just rocks. I can remember buying 1 or 2 plants a few years ago, and it just self-seed everywhere, even in the same pot as my meteor. And probably that's the reason why my meteor isn't flourishing as it should be. These roots on these Nigellas aren't very, very long, so I don't think that's the problem. And peonies, beautiful, beautiful. I dug up quite a number of peonies at the back of the garden, even with bud, only a couple of weeks ago, because they were just taking up so much space. And seeing how beautiful these are, I'm really, really regretting it. Oh well, I've done it now. And peonies, their flowering period don't really last that long, so I have no regrets. And these irises are over now, past the best. And these two eustachiae is in full bloom. What a stunning rose with a very lovely, strong, fruity scent. Very compact. And this small one here down there is a newly planted rose called Queen of Elegance. And this is peace rose, first introduced after the World War II to commemorate the end of World War II. Very old rose, and I really chopped this right back, and it's really struggling to get back on its feet. And this really gorgeous rose here is Royal Jubilee, €5 cutting, looking very stunning, covered in a lot of buds. Stunning, beautiful rose. And the color is just so beautiful. A very quick look at a few of the roses in front of my house. This is Septic de Isle. Septic de Isle has a very strong myrrh scent. The leaves are quite unusually curly actually, and the growing habit is quite spindly and not very full, not as full as I expected. And in there is another Leonardo da Vinci. And the growing habit compared to this one is Maverna. This one's very bushy and very tall, has a lovely gorgeous scent. This is Maverna and a cousin to a rose called Twilight Zone. This is probably one of the most purplest rose that I have in my garden, and a very fully established bush, this one. And this one is one of the most scented rose in my garden, is called Delice. This is Sweet Parfumer de Provence. I wish I had this at the back garden and rather than at the front, because I get to smell it all the time. But I'll be looking to add another one onto my order next year. And this little climber here is Generous Gardener, and not quite a climber yet. I'm gonna give it another year or so, and if it doesn't climb, that's fine. And a very quick look at my Chinese wisteria. It's really beautiful, that one. And below that there is another Strawberry Hill, and this Strawberry Hill somehow has always not done very well, this one, and grow alongside clematis called Montana Reuben in a very large pot. So no excuse there, because the pot is too small, because that is enormous. This rose is a rose called Buff Beauty, a climbing rose. Never featured this rose in any of my videos. I don't really see much highly of this rose. My wife tried to butcher it to death because it was dangling over the driveway. I've never fed this rose at all whatsoever. And sitting next to my my garden bin, I tell my neighbour every time he trims my hedge, just make sure he doesn't trim any of my rose. And he does listen, of course. And moving around this corner is two very sorry Zephyrin Druin, which I dug up a couple of years ago, and I didn't want to throw it out, so I just threw it there. Of course I give it a trellis to hang on to. I have never fed this rose, and I don't even look at this rose. And I can't believe David Austin is selling this rose for nearly £30. That's just crazy. I really do not recommend anyone buying that rose, let alone spending £30. It's crazy. And first off is Strawberry Hill. This is a climbing rose bred by David Austin. This is one of the early bloomers in my garden alongside Gertrude and Olivia. So past its best. It is grown in the ground, previously in the pot, and the growth itself is very straggly and yeah, not very full compared to some of the climbing rose that I have. And also another climbing rose by David Austin is Pilgrim. And this is in one of the worst location there is. And this rose, of course, as you can see, is very shy, just like me. It just don't really like to come out to show its face. Has a lovely scent as well. I forgot what it smells like. And I don't want to put my face in there because I would end up falling over. And this is Silas Marner. Silas Marner is starting to come down from the list of good roses. Look at that growth, it's really straggly. And these petals are not very good, not heat resistant as well. They're very fragile. But look at that, that's not very pretty, is it? Silas Marner, recommended by a YouTuber a couple of years ago, and I bought it. But I don't recommend this rose anymore. Not with that kind of growing habit. But the colour is just so gorgeous as well. Beautiful. And this next one here is a timeless pink, timeless purple. I've got all the timeless ones, but this is probably one of the better one. And Emily Bronte here, as always, she is one of my top 5 David Austin roses in my garden. And she blooms in clusters. Gorgeous flower and a lovely scent. Has a unusual button eye in the middle of that bloom. Currently growing in a pot and doing extremely well in the pot. And this is Summer Song. Summer Song has always been a bit of a problem for me. A rose that has a fantastic colour and a lovely old rose fragrance. It's not a very popular rose, one of the lesser popular ones. And Eustacia Vi. And this one is a Cordes rose called Raspberry Parfumer, also known as Raspberry Cupcake. Very healthy rose. Has a lovely raspberry scent, and behind that is Gertrude Chico. Past her best, she was flourishing beautifully 2 weeks ago, and I was very fortunate enough to capture that her presence. And this is another Emily Bronte, and growing alongside self-seedling verbenas. Gorgeous combination. These self-seeding verbenas has very minimal foliage. A very good combination in my opinion. And these are all over my my front border. And here's a view. Behind this border here consists of, I think, 22 to 25 roses. That's a lot of roses in such a small tight space. And down there is another Princess Alexandra of Kent. And these Astromeras, I don't know whether I hate them or love them, because I tried digging a lot out, but they just seems to keep growing all the time. And this one here is McCartney Rose and Lady Charlotte. I have a Wallerton Old Hall there, sprouting a lot, tons and tons of new fresh canes. It is true when they say roses tend to creep first year and leap the second, and that is a true example. It is crazy amount of growth this one has produced, and I thought it was struggling, but look at all that new growth, crazy. And that is Jasmina. Jasmina is a Cordes rose, has medium-sized blooms, and there is a lot of it. And this distant drum is almost over. Distant drum, wow, the scent is incredible, really incredible. One of the stronger myrrh scent, equivalent to as strong as my Wallerton Old Hall. And good news is she is producing a lot of fresh growth. Look at that, gorgeous. And this is very popular in the US and a very rare rose in this country. And Boscobel down here. Look at that beautiful Boscobel. Stunning colour, and one of the loveliest, the sweetest fruity scent in my collection of roses. And sweet honey there has a cluster down there, right at the back. 2 clusters actually. It is just so dense in there. And of course it's Pierre de Ronsard, also known as Eden, one of the most long-lasting blooms in my garden. This is Leonardo da Vinci, bred by Meon. Long-lasting flowers. I've got 2 bushes here, and these blooms doesn't have any scent, unfortunately, but that long-lasting blooms really makes up for that lack of scent that it has. And Rodal here has finishing almost his first flush. Some of these blooms have been blooming for a number of days now, and a lot of these blooms are looking a little bit on the tired side. So these very fragile petals are struggling again under the heat. And Princess Alexandra of Kent, one of my all-time favorite David Austin roses. And I've got 3 of these, and this one in a container is doing so much better than all the other 2. Such a beautiful formation of petals, and has one of the loveliest scent. Just the beauty and the scent combined, and very bushy and healthy. One of the prolonged flowering roses that I have. It just continues to flower all throughout the season, this rose. And this is a bush form of Gertrude Jekyll. And another Wallerton Old Hall. I am just really dying to put my nose against that, and I will do that. Wow, one of the strongest myrrh scent of any rose, believe me. Beautiful. And this one, funny enough, it's not doing as great as the one behind that fence there. It's crazy because that one is really dense, and this one has a nice open area, but yet this one so far isn't doing as well as that one. And this mega sized bloom belongs to a rose called Chandos Beauty. Huge flower. And another one down there as well, and typical of a hybrid tea. And down here, supposed to be my white border. Planted a white Parfuma de Provence down there, and it's struggled, but I have dug it up. And this is Earth Angel and Cordes Rose, and another Earth Angel. This one is a cutting. This one was a cutting from my sister. It's one of the worst locations for any rose. And Graham Thomas here is in flower. This is a very short climbing rose and a very old one. And she does have a lot of blooms on her, on him rather. I keep saying her, I don't know why. And this tall one here is Molyneux. And Molyneux is also a David Austin. And this is a very good performer. Last year she had flowers on late October. It was crazy. I've tried to train this as a standard, and it kind of looks like a standard. I think I've done a good job. That is my third Asian pear, and look at that. I'm gonna get a yield of fruits this year. It's been on the ground for almost 3 years now. I've never had anything from it, but this year I know 100% there's gonna be fruits on that tree. And a couple of roses down there in intensive care units. I'm going to swing you out now and have a look at my Compassion climbing rose. This is a monster of a rose, huge. Sorry, I've just been hooked up by, yeah, this is a very big rose. Has a gorgeous, lovely scent as well. Wow, really strong old rose. And then down there is Spirit of Freedom. Spirit of Freedom is also a climbing rose bred by David Austin. And Madame Anisette is looking really promising. Anisette was previously in a pot, but this one really outgrew the pot. Just really tall canes. And next to that, another historical figure is Maid Marian. Maid Marian is a David Austin rose, and a very reliable one. I think Maid Marian, as we know, is Robin Hood's companion. We say girlfriend, I would say girlfriend. A very gorgeous pink rose, a very reliable. I have no problem with this rose. And another quick look at the rose Compassion. And this one, not yet in bloom yet, is Princess de Luxembourg. And I don't know who's the breeder of this rose. And down there is Meal on a Floss. I think that could be trained as a mini climber. This one would be one of my favorite eventually, is Princess Charlene de Monaco. And I try to give it as much space to grow as possible, but it is a bare root rose and it really takes a couple of years before it matures. And this perennial blue is in flower. This is a rambling rose. When this is in flower, it look amazing, absolutely amazing. And Lady Capri has a few buds on her, but not in flower. This is, I think, is a Rose and Tantau. This one is gorgeous yellow flower. Is Bring Me Sunshine. If anyone has this rose, try not to put it in the pot, because honestly it will really outgrow its. Look at how tall is that. It's almost tall. And sorry about that wind there, it just literally just blew me off my feet there. It's that windy. lovely, beautiful, beautiful scent. But look at that leaf. I don't know, it's maybe a sign of some black spots. I don't know, a bit early for that. Come on, you're supposed to be a good rose with good fragrance and good disease. What happened there? Look at that. Oh. And a couple of blush noisettes and climbing rose. Madame Isaac Perrier. Oh gosh, what happened here? Oh dear. Madame Isaac, what are you doing down there? Come on. Is it the heat? It's not been that hot. Come on. Madame Isaac Perrier. A very, very old rose, one of the oldest one in my garden. And somehow these blooms are very small. Normally they're almost size of my palm. And this is another Madame Isaac Perrier as well. And a couple of random potted roses. This is Meteor and not in flower. And Dame Judi Dench, also not in flower. And this is a David Austin rose, Grace. I think my roses can do with a drink because they all look quite floppy. And this is Ancient Mariner, almost identical flowers to Olivia Rose Austin. But this next one is one of a favourite of mine as well. This is Lady Gardener, and Nick has this rose, but his one is very creamy and white. Whether that is the Lady Gardener, I don't know, but mine has always been kind of peachy apricot with the hinges of white on the edges. Look at this beautiful flower, and this one has the proper tea scent. I mean, anything other than this tea scent is not real. This has one of the nicest tea scent roses in my garden. Yeah, really lovely tea scent. This is a very, very good and reliable rose in my garden as well, and currently potted in a container, and she's always been happy being in that container. This bud there you see is the darkest bud in my garden. Fruity Parfumer has quite dark buds, and this is a lot darker than this, and it is Black Parfumer de Provence. I've added 4 Black Parfumer de Provence to my collection this year, and all bred by Mayond, and all are very, very slow growing. Yeah, these just seems to grow very, very slowly compared to a lot of my bare roots. And down there is Golden Celebration, and isn't that beautiful? And I was tempted to shovel prune this rose from my garden last year because it was really, really such an unhealthy rose. It was covered in black spot all the time, and now that sycamore tree is gone, hopefully I'll have this rose a bit longer. Now would have more light penetrating through just this very shaded part of the garden. And this one here is a Henry Delbar, that's a yellow rose. I'm looking forward to seeing the blooms on that. And this one is Kimono, with a white one here, which I don't know. This was one of the early ones I planted when I first started growing roses. I never really kept their names or tags. And this one is Poet's Wife. Poet's Wife have one of the beautiful scent in David Austin's collection. Gorgeous, gorgeous scent. But unfortunately, Poet's Wife is very, very floppy, and always has been floppy. See, I've got blooms down there, literally just sitting on the floor. It's crazy. But I won't get rid of this rose because I really love this rose. The scent is just so incredible, and something is eating the foliage of these leaves, and I need to find a culprit sooner, or otherwise I wouldn't have anything left. And this one really needs no introduction. Honestly, this is becoming one of the most common rose in this country, and common for a very good reason, because it is very, very good rose. This is Duchess of Cornwall, and a fantastic healthy rose with long-lasting blooms. And these blooms have little to no scent, and the petal formations look almost identical to Boscobel. It is a beautiful rose. And this one is Elizabeth, bred by David Austin. It has a lot of medium-sized blooms and clusters of buds on that one stem. And this rose is slowly losing its popularity, for me anyway, because I'm not starting to like this rose that much, and maybe I just have so many good ones already, so this is really slowly losing its popularity. And down there, oh, that's an iceberg, by the way. And down there I may just put a climbing rose Florentina up there along that wall, and now that has a bit of sunlight penetrating. So next to that is another climbing rose, a red climbing rose, and this one I never knew where to put it, and I just left it dangling in the middle of my garden. I don't know what that is. And this hydrangea is in a pot. Hydrangea and pot, it's never a very good combination, because these plants grow so tall and big. It needs a lot of space, and space is not something I don't have. And this is always a good plant to have in your garden. Flowering all throughout the season is geranium Roxanne. And this is the first maiden bloom of this white Parfuma de Provence. And I'm never a big fan of white roses, and I've got 3 of these in my garden now. It's crazy. As long as it's a fragrant rose and it's bred by Meond, I'm not that fussy. The more the better. It smells quite good at the moment without the buds opening. And this is Beverly, also known as Pink Perfection. And Beverly this year, for some reason, has produced very, very stingy amount of flowers. I'm not getting many from this bush. And these blooms take about forever to open. But aside that, I really love this rose. The scent and the color is just so gorgeous. And next to that is Harlow Carr, a David Austin rose, and this one is one of my least favorite of roses. Look at that lethal thorn there. Honestly, it'll poke you even just by looking at it. Crazy amount of thorn, and these blooms are really small, fairly good scent, but nothing special about this rose in my opinion. And this is an older variety of a David Austin rose. This is a Mary rose and a pink rose that are very similar to many of the pink roses that I have in my garden. So this isn't essence anything special. And I'm going to move to a very special one here. This one is Coco Loco, and this one is a very, very special rose. A lot of new growth, Gorgeous, gorgeous rose. Lovely, lovely scent as well. This is about 5 days old. And this one, look at that, the color. It's just, who doesn't like this color? This is the only mocha rose in my garden. Gorgeous, gorgeous color. Coco Loco is an American rose. Beautiful, lovely hybrid tea form. And that is a remaining black stem from my Eve Piaget. No, there is absolutely 0% that is going to live or expect any new basil shoots coming out of there. And this next one is Danihue. Danihue here is again not a very good rose in my opinion. These petals just so fragile and drop so easily. And I've got more blooms down there as well. The fragrance is pretty decent, and there is a lot of blooms there yet to open. Sometimes you just like a rose, and sometimes you don't. It's just one of those things, and that's one of those ones that I don't like. But this one I do like is Wisteria Vi. Look at that, very upright, gorgeous, and compact, healthy. And another Strawberry Hill. I'm literally on the floor now, and I've got blooms hanging, dangling from the container. This is a very good variety out of the 3 that I have in my garden. And all that bloom there, that yet to open. It is a good one compared to the other 2. I don't know why, but it is a good one. Yeah, look at that. Stunning, stunning. And James Galway. James Galway has one of the most complex inside of a rose. Really complex formation and very dense as well. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. Only has light scent. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. It really again has been a pleasure of mine to show you around my garden, and it really is such a shame to have to say goodbye to you all. And the weather forecast for today was supposed to be very dull and windy, and although it has been very windy, but the weather has been very, very, very kind to me today, and I was able to complete my first part of my video tour. And I have been very, very blessed with this lucky weather that we've had today. And I know for the next part of few days, the weather is turning quite bad. And hopefully I will get to see you all soon on the second part of my tour. And that's it. I hope you all have a lovely day.